you.
Okay.
Yeah, as we know, vlog is very popular recently.
Vlog.
Yeah. Do you have spare time to watch that?
Actually, no. I'm terribly busy.
Yeah.
Um, from time to time, I would go if they're really in the news. I'll go and check out. Yeah, but generally, no.
Okay. So if you have time, what kind of contents you will choose to have a look?
It depends. It depends. I mean, last time I was watching the YouTube content of Li Ziqi, the Chinese lady who was, documenting her life in the mountains, right, in the village, growing vegetables, cooking traditional Chinese food, and so on and so forth. So that was really interesting. And when I was preparing for this discussion, I watched the videos of the people that we're going to talk about, the foreign video YouTubers in China who talk about China, and it's very interesting. Yeah.
Do you considering to shoot your own vlog?
I don't have the time. I would love to, but if I would ever have the time, I would love to show people what kind of a housewife I am. What I do at home, how I cook, how I choose my attire, what do I do in decorating my home and stuff like that. But I don't have the time to do it, and I'm not sure whether people are interested. But if you do a vlog, it's about telling your story using video and not necessarily to please anybody, right? So if you think there's some value in what you do, which I'm not so sure, and I don't have the time, so for the moment I'll not give it a try.
Okay, hope you will have time.
I'm not sure whether people will be interested. I have enough thing to say on my job. So
Actually, I think a lot of people will curious about your daily life, like doing this
very
show.
boring, very boring, I tell you, because I don't have time to really live. I'm doing, a show on a daily basis. I run from work to home, from home to work. I read news, I watch news, I read books, I discuss my work. It's very boring. So maybe in a couple of times I'll have a more colorful life.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Good luck
Hope you enjoy the
today.
show. Yeah. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Headline Buster, brought to you by The Point. I'm Li Xin. In this series, I dissect stories that are making headlines around the world and talk to my guests to compensate for the missing pieces of the puzzle. So join me in real time by sending us your comments or questions via the CGTN page on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or Weibo. If you're watching us live on the CGTN application, email me at thepointwithlx@cgtn.com. Let me know what you think. We start our live streaming every Friday at 11 a.m. Beijing time, so do get in touch and we just might read out your comments. Now, this week, we're going to look at a peculiar story that surfaced in a prominent British newspaper, The Times. It's a one-off, but it's worth mentioning because it captures the essence, I believe, of so much that's perplexing about reports on China. Now, the article was published both in print and online on January the 9th, entitled Beijing Funds British YouTubers to Further Its Propaganda War. The online version says the Chinese government is funding British YouTube stars to produce pro-China propaganda videos, an investigation by The Times can reveal. So why the suspicion to start with? Well, the article finds the views of these YouTubers in sync with the Chinese government, and the comments under these videos are largely supportive too. The article lists some examples of those videos posted by British people living in China, such as Lee Barrett and his son Ollie, who live in the southern Chinese city of Xinjiang. The article devotes a good part in the beginning to what the duo said on issues such as Hong Kong and Xinjiang, followed by Western critics who argue against their position, thus supporting the claim that these videos are pro-China propaganda. One example is Hong Kong. Let's listen to what Ollie said.
Police brutality. So this is another thing that was pushed in the US media and, you know, the media of the Five Eyes nations, that the Hong Kong police during the protests over the last year have been so brutal towards its citizens. They've used unnecessary force against their citizens, which is just blatantly not true.
The article then quotes Amnesty International to rebuke his view, citing evidence of detained Hong Kong protesters receiving ill treatment amounting to torture. Well, I don't want to go into the argument about alleged police brutality in Hong Kong, but here is the point. The Barretts have obviously different opinions on some controversial issues than the mainstream view in the UK, and these views appear to coincide with those of the Chinese government. But does that mean they're necessarily pushing pro-China propaganda? When they're showing themselves eating Chinese noodles, for instance, is that also pro-China propaganda? The other big question is, where does the allegation come from that these YouTubers are funded by the Chinese government? The article says, after investigation, that some of their videos were funded by China Radio International, a media organization that has been exposed as the secret owner of an international network of propaganda radio stations. Now, no evidence is presented to back that claim about secret ownership, but that aside, the YouTubers did participate in an organized activity to the northwestern Chinese city of Xi'an. They then produced content about the trip to post on their respective channels. The Barretts basically documented the trip, their arrival at the hotel, the meetings they had, the places they went, the people they saw. In the relevant video, Ollie clearly explains why they were there.
So, just to explain to you all what's going on here. So basically, China Radio International have organised a meetup with a bunch of different YouTubers, and that's why everybody's in the same place right now. So they've brought us all to Xi'an and Shanxi to show us around and do some cool things here.
So one such trip was funded by the Chinese official media, but does that mean the videos and the views in these videos are funded by Beijing? Does that mean that these YouTubers are funded by Beijing in general, as one can extrapolate from the title in the print version of the Times? We'll get to that very important distinction later. Now, the article also says, critics have claimed that pro-China YouTubers are benefiting from ad revenues, in part driven by an alleged Chinese Communist Party network of bots that promote videos supporting the state. Now, a bot is a software application that runs automated tasks over the internet. But who are these critics, first of all, and how do they know bots are behind the channel's booming success? And where is the evidence? The article fails to enlighten us. The article goes on to point out that the Barretts are part of a growing number of foreigners who live in China, making videos endorsing the government and criticizing the West. The paper mentions a few others, including another Brit by the name of Jason Lightfoot, who has been living in China for 9 years in southwest China's Guizhou province. As if to support their argument, the article cites the fact that their videos have been retweeted by Chinese officials. Obviously, one has little control as to what people do with your content. What about those who use their content to attack or criticize them, like the Times reporters? It's funny, the article contradicts itself as well. It says in a candid video about the visit that was subsequently removed, Li admitted that a trip to a mountain was cancelled so they could witness propaganda regarding the area's prosperity. He said it wasn't until the second day they started talking about cutting the trip short by a day, and there was no real reason given for that. A fellow YouTuber, Jiao Nation, said they had to fit in more propaganda. If these YouTubers are really funded by Beijing to spread propaganda, why would they say it in their videos? I don't know the reason, however, why Li's video was allegedly removed. Now, the article goes on to quote people who study China and its digital communication to make the case that China is using these people to make itself look legitimate at home and abroad, and they can't possibly say anything bad about China because they will be in trouble. What a clean sweep. So long as you live in China and say something good about it, you must not be telling the truth. After making these claims, the article finishes by saying the Barretts, Mr. Lightfoot, China Radio International, and the Chinese embassy did not respond to requests for comment. So Jason and Barrett's, actually Jiao Nation as well, have since made videos to refute the claims made in the paper. Here are a few clips of what they had to say.
We are sponsored for the trip, but the content of our channel is completely independent of that trip. We choose what content we will produce, we decide what we're going to say in that content, and we decide what we're going to publish on our channel. Now that is completely different from a sponsored video. Now we have done sponsored videos here in China, but those sponsored videos here in China are generally for products or manufacturers or brands.
The story is mostly it's about Barrett and their channel, but I know for a fact that Barrett, Lee and only Barrett, are not funded by the Chinese government. You know, they're just like me. They're showing the truth of China. And I think it's the fact that the Times, you know, they just can't handle the truth. They can't handle it, really.
We will talk to all of the four gentlemen mentioned in the article to share their side of the story. Now, critics might use this as one more evidence that they are cronies of Chinese propaganda. I just believe they deserve a voice in a story with a strong accusation related to them, to the media, and to China. We also reached out to the two writers of the article repeatedly as early as we could. No reply so far. So what exactly do the YouTubers have to say about these charges? Stay with us. We'll continue right after this short break.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
Making sense of the overwhelming wave of information means cutting through the noise to shine a light on the heart of the story and making room for new perspectives. True understanding means the ability to see events from more than one side. I'm Liu Xin, and this is The Point. Welcome back to Headline Buster, brought to you by The Point with me, Liu Xin. As I mentioned, we have the four gentlemen who have been mentioned in that Times article accusing them of being funded by Beijing. And here they are. Lee and Ollie Barrett joining us from Shenzhen. Jason Lightfoot joining us from Guizhou in southwestern China. And Matt, where are they? Let me say that again. Okay, welcome back. Yeah. Welcome back to Headline Buster, brought to you by The Point with me, Liu Xin. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we are going to invite the 4 gentlemen who have been mentioned in the Times article who have been accused of being funded by Beijing to spread propaganda. And here they are, Lee and Ollie Barrett, joining us from Shenzhen. Yes, there they are. Jason Lightfoot joining us from Guizhou. And Matt Gallant, yes, joining us from Jiao Nation. Gentlemen, welcome to The Point. Welcome to Headline Buster. Let me start with Lee first, because you seem to be the prominent, the prime suspect, let's say, in this case. First of all, did you respond to their request for your reply? Exactly what happened? I don't hear you. Ollie? Oh, Lee. Yeah, sorry. Somehow the sound is not on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, say it again. Okay, now please go ahead.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
Making sense of the overwhelming wave of information means cutting through the noise to shine a light on the heart of the story and making room for new perspectives. True understanding means the ability to see events from more than one side. I'm Liu Xin, and this is The Point. Welcome back to Headline Buster, brought to you by The Point with me, Liu Xin. As I mentioned, we have the 4 gentlemen who have been accused of being funded by Beijing to push propaganda here on the show. They are Lee and Ollie Barrett, joining us from Shenzhen, Jason Lightfoot, joining us from Guizhou, and Matt Gallant, joining us from the Jiao Nation channel. So, gentlemen, welcome to Headline Buster. Lee, let me go to you first, because you're the prime suspect here. First of all, did you ever receive that letter from the reporters asking for your opinions? What happened? All right, we're not able to hear you. I'm sorry, Lee, we're not able to hear you somehow. Jason, let me start with you then. You are also heavily featured in that article. What happened to the letter about request for your opinion? Did you respond? All right. Yeah. Well, Ollie, you're also featured in that article.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
Making sense of the overwhelming wave of information means cutting through the noise to shine a light on the heart of the story and making room for new perspectives. True understanding means the ability to see events from more than one side. I'm Liu Xin, and this is The Point.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference. Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe.
Well, unfortunately, because of technical issues, we can't get the audios out for whatever reason. We do this every week, but somehow this week it just doesn't work. So I have to say that we are probably not going to bring the conversation live out to you at this moment, but we will have this conversation and we will show it in my program as usual. On its usual airtime later today. So do tune in if you're interested of what these people have to say. And much apologies. I'm really sorry. I don't know what happened. Obviously, Beijing is not very savvy in pushing out its propaganda, I guess, for some people. Anyway, have a good day and have a good weekend. I'll see you next Friday.